Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us here at In Alive. We are going to have a very short show today. We're going to be talking about the life and times of Art Bell very quickly. Art Bell, longtime radio voice of the late night Coast to Coast, has died at the age of 72. And his real name was Arthur William Bell. He was born June 17th, 1945. And he passed away April 13th, 2018. And again, he was an American broadcaster and author. He was the founder of the original and the original host of the paranormal show, theme show, radio show called Coast to Coast AM. And if everybody remembers that, Art Bell was he was one of the guys that came on only at nighttime. He was the biggest nighttime radio show guy ever. He was syndicated on hundreds of radio stations in the United States and throughout Canada and heard throughout the world. He also created one thing that people don't realize. He created this show and hosted the show called Dreamland with Whitley Strieber. And that show was I love the bumper music for that show, and also the intro for that show was just phenomenal. It was just amazing. I spent I don't know, hundreds of hours listening to Art Bell and listening to all of the things that he had coming on the show. One of the shows that I do want to bring up is that he had one guy who was taking his plane to Area 51. Now, he had just called Art Bell up when he got in the air, and it was, I tell you, it was pretty fascinating. And Art Bell didn't know anything that was going on, and the guy says, "Art, I'm getting ready to go to Area 51," and he's describing this incredible journey that he's having in his little I think it was a little prop propeller plane. And as he was getting closer and closer to the border where Art Bell was trying to tell him, "Don't do it. You know, maybe you should reconsider this." He says, "No, I'm almost there." He says, "I see the lights." And then all of a sudden, what happened is that he says he sees jets taking off the ground. And the next thing you know, he's being tailed. He's trying to get him to turn around, the people from Area 51. And then before you know it, the guy starts saying all kinds of things as he's describing it. And then he loses voice contact and he's gone. Just gone. I mean, Art had a whole bunch of crazy people on his show that did all kinds of stuff with the anywhere between the CIA, FBI, military people, NASA. He brought out a lot of things out to light. And that were never talked about on a radio show before. People call a little bit of a niche or something like that. Try to downgrade him, but I mean, when you have a show that was as popular as his, it was crazy. I mean, at the height of his syndication in the 90s, the show could be found on roughly 500 North American radio stations, with its broadcasting originating from KNYE 95.1 FM and Bell's remote hometown, Pahrump, Nevada. Right? It was pretty crazy. He actually had his whole studio in his home. The whole studio in his home. And he was his own engineer. He ran his own commercials. He did just about everything for a show. But yeah, Art Bell has died at the age of 72. And, you know, I mean, if the name doesn't ring a bell, it really should, because his voice, when you talk about Art Bell's voice, it was just one of those amazing things that go along with his longtime legacy of Coast to Coast AM. It was pretty crazy. It was pretty crazy, and all the things that he had. The show had gripping content. I mean, it was really phenomenal. I mean, I even got my friends listening to the guy late at night, and I know their wives were probably thought we were nuts and crazy because we were hanging out to, 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and just listening to the radio show. We're not out there running around club hopping or anything like that. We're out there looking at Art Bell. And I had my friend, Anthony Davis, every now and then I had Wesley and James, listening to the stuff. And I know they probably thought I was a nutcase, but It brought out a lot of stuff. I mean, it brought out stuff about chemtrails. He was the first person to bring that out, which is very important. It brought out a lot of stuff about gene splicing. It brought out a lot of stuff about cattle mutilations going on in the West, still happening to this day. Brought out a lot of stuff with Richard Hoagland and at Mars. And, Richard Hoagland was the first one to find these weird anomalies on the moon pictures. And, he was saying that there were glass structures on the moon. And later on, other people were finding those same type of anomalies. Coming to find out, they may have been something that was done in the studio. Who knows? But Richard Hoagland was pretty crazy on the Art Bell shows, and he did a lot of stuff to really help up the show. So it's really interesting that we have radio personalities like this. So it's a sad day that we have at this particular time a person like that has passed away. Art Bell was a giant in the industry, just a giant. And everyone is espousing to be Art Bell. So right now, George Norrie, he's doing a very good job at taking over his spot. Some people say he's doing a horrible job, right? And but I mean, when you're trying to fill the shoes of an Art Bell, it's just impossible. It's just impossible. He's just that much of a heavy hitter. So really want to bring it up to you that and have a specific show on that about Art Bell. Art Bell retired several times in his career, left coast to coast for good in 2010. Since then, the show's hosting duties have been split between George Norrie and George Knapp. George Knapp, again, I believe he was the one with the hearing problem. He probably would have been the host of the show. That guy was excellent. He brought up a lot of stuff as well. Bell resurfaced in 2013 in Sirius XM with a satellite radio show. He hosted that for a little while. That was short-lived. But many of the accomplished in the long and distinguished career of the radio show, his most impressive feat occurred when he once set a Guinness Book World Record for broadcasting solo for 116 straight hours at a station in Okinawa, Japan. Yeah, he was in the military, and he did all the radio programming in the military, right? And he was pretty crazy. I tell you, Art Bell was one of those guys that is surely going to be missed in the radio industry. Now, most people don't realize this, but we do believe that he was a Masonic. But he never really talked about that. Some people brought that up on the radio show as well. He also appeared as himself in the feature Dark Skies in 2007. And he also wrote a few books. He wrote a few books pertaining to the weather and the quickening. I believe the book name was The Quickening. And that was one of the bestsellers. And I believe he wrote that book with Whitley Strieber as well. So everybody have an understanding that Art Bell was one of the greatest radio personalities you could ever find on the radio. So this will end this program, but go out there, find out some very good, interesting things about Art Bell, listen to his radio program, and we will talk to you very soon on Inner Live, and we'll talk to you later. Have a great day. This is Riley McLean, under Thunder and Rail.